Everyone says Renekton is incredibly powerful, blah blah blah, but when you try it, you go 0-7 and you don't understand why. The champion feels useless. Early game, sure, he's fine, but in the late game, you just got destroyed. If that is you right now, then I got the perfect video for you, because I got Lonelykid playing Renekton, and that's the same guy that played the Akali, and this guy is the best Baron laner in Europe. Like, this guy is the best Baron laner in Europe. He's also 17 years old or 18 years old, one of the two. When I met him, he was 17 years old. And the beauty of a player like him is, besides the fact that he's the best player in Europe, best Baron laner in Europe, is that his mechanical skills are out of this roof. Because I am 22 years old. When I was 17 years old, I would block abilities like 0.1 seconds, like I would have this reaction. Obviously, when you get older, your reaction time is going to get a little bit worse. So that's why it's so beautiful to watch a player like him. There are timestamps in the description to just skip to the gameplay. Now I'm going to explain to you guys how to build Renekton. And this is very, very important for many reasons, especially the runes part. Let me tell you, Renekton is an early game bully. Really, really powerful early game champion. In the late game, he falls off. You can try to sugarcoat him as much as you want, but he falls off in the late game. The only thing you can really do in the late game is win 1v1s. And be a tank. But, compared to any other bruiser, he does fall off in the late game. So how do you build him? First item, Blair the Rune King. You're going to be squishy, but you're going to be hella powerful in the early game. Another thing to understand about Renekton, by the way, you want to build him in a way which makes him very, very powerful, not only in the early game, but also against tanks. Because you're playing in the Baron lane. 9 out of 10 times, you're going to be against a tank, right? And of course, if you're not against a tank, you have to itemize against that as well. But Blair the Rune King is always going to be a good item. For the boots, generally you'll want to go for like Mercury's Threads or Plated Steel Caps. It depends. If you need armor, you go Mercury's Threads. Otherwise, you go for if you need armor, you go for Plated Steel Caps. If you need tenacity, you go for Mercury's Threads. Second item is always going to be a Black Cleaver. These two are core items on Renekton. You can also go Black Cleaver first if you want to be a little bit tankier. It just depends. If you want more damage, you go for Blade of the Rune King. If you want to be a little bit tankier and more supportive of your team, you go for Black Cleaver. That's the choice you have. Then you go for a Starix Cage. Beautiful item on Renekton. Synergizes really, really well with his ultimate. Because when you use that ultimate, your Starix Cage is going to give you an even bigger shield as well. Really, really powerful. After that, it's situational. Completely situational. Like, whatever you need. If you want the Death Stance, go Death Stance. If you want to be more supportive for your team, you go for Guardian Angel. Thornmail, whatever. If you need anti-heal. Any item. What the hell is this item? Oh, that's the new item. Yeah, it's just the new item that came out. There's so many items you can go for on Renekton, Even a Spirit Visage to increase the healing of your first ability. Even Force of Nature to need magic resist. Even that's like, you can go for so many things as your like later items. Frozen Heart, you can go for Randuin's Omen, you can go for whatever you need. But your core items really are... Oh god, that's not the core build. Wait, where's the Blade of the Rune King? Your core build is Blade of the Rune King, Black Cleaver, Starbucks Cage. Last two items are situational. You want to try to play the Guardian Angel though, because it's such a good item on Renekton, but it's not mandatory. For your enchantment, you want to go for the Stoneplate enchant. Or teleport if you want to teleport. I don't really recommend it, but yeah. If you're behind, you can go for stasis. Because, if the enemies get engaged on you, at least you can waste some time because you're using stasis. But if you're doing pretty well, go for the stone plate. You go in, you do all your damage, and then you use the stone plate to tank up everything. And for the runes, now here it gets important. You see this right here? This is what I like to say are early game rune. And this is exactly what Lonelykid went for in the game that I'm about to show you. Kraken Slayer, always Kraken Slayer, even if you're against the squishy. Because the thing about Kraken Slayer, it's really strong early game because of the burst that it gives you with Renekton. Your basic attack second ability, you proc Kraken Slayer. You're going to do a lot of burst damage. And later on in the game, Renekton is the type of champion that can get a lot of basic attacks off, especially because of his second ability, of course. So Kraken Slayer is constantly going to be procced, constantly doing the true damage, constantly allowing you to shred down the enemy tank. And for the same reason, you go for Brutal. On hit, you get bonus on hit damage, which means each basic attack is going to do bonus damage. So, of course, with Renekton, that is amazing early game. Basic attack second ability, and if it's an empowered second ability, that's 4 times that you're going to be proccing this on hit damage. 4 times 12 on level 1. Can you see, or like level 2, can you see how much damage that is? That's going to be like 48 damage early on in the game. Champions have like 600 health early on, and then the Brutal is going to be giving you 48. Of course, armor is going to block off a little bit, but you get my point. It's very, very powerful on Renekton's already strong early game. And here, yet again, early game, bone plating. If you have bone plating, no one is gonna win an early trade against you. Basically, if you have this setup, and then here you go for Sweet Tooth, you can go for Demolish. If you feel very, very confident, because it allows you to push turrets, of course. But Sweet Tooth basically confirms your win in the lane, because it heals you a lot. You don't need it, don't get me wrong. Like, if you're a really good Renekton player, you don't need it. I'm honestly not that sure why Lonelykid went for the Sweet Tooth. Again, like, if you want to really win your lane, that's when you go for the Sweet Tooth. That's what I do, at least. But if you want to really dominate the game itself, Demolish is generally going to be better. Because this is already enough to, like, dominate your lane. And then Demolish is going to allow you to take the turret very easily as well. For the spells, you go for Ignite and Flash. So that is it about the build. Let's now get, and this is a different process now, into the gameplay. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Wait, I screwed up. It should play here. And boom, there we go. It's very, very loud for me though. Let's see if it's loud for you guys too. Nah, it's not that loud, I think. I'm actually gonna turn it down just to make sure. Sorry, you guys are gonna get a black screen right now, but it should be fine. Alright. So, this is gonna be a Renekton gameplay like you guys have never ever seen before. I'm just making sure the audio is good, by the way. Just making sure. And the audio is good. Oh, he's against an Ashe. Nah, but how annoying is that? Look at this. He's already Half-Life. Like, everyone hates ranged top laners, right? Everyone literally hates it. The way he can win against this Ashe is if he, like, gets close to her and hits her. But of course, the Ashe is not gonna allow him to get close. Even when he's gonna farm here, he's probably gonna get bullied by the Ashe. You can see the way that he's approaching this lane is he's trying to be as safe as possible. Trying to minimize damage, you know? And I guess this is... Oh, he doesn't have the Sweet Tooth this game. Sorry, he probably has a Demolish then. Although Sweet Tooth would be helpful this game. The thing about Sweet Tooth with Renekton is it doesn't really make that much sense because Renekton doesn't have any mana. So Sweet Tooth is only going to increase the healing, which Renekton really doesn't need. That's why I was a bit skeptical about it. But you can go for it if you truly want to dominate your lane. Or sorry, if you have a really hard lane. Here he can go in. Exactly. You see, this is his one chance to, like, win a trade against an Ashe. He could ignite her and she's dead. Yeah, she's dead right now. So, like, you see, that's the way you can win against ranged top lanes with Renekton. And this is why it's mandatory to go for things like Bone Plating, Kraken Slayer, and Brutal. If he didn't have those, he wouldn't have dealt that much burst damage early on in the game. Oh my god, he even used his second ability to make sure he claims the ward. If he didn't use his second ability, he actually wouldn't have gotten the ward. That's a bit, that's kind of a funny thing, not gonna lie. So that's, you know, 30 gold right there. May not seem like a lot, but it is important, of course. 30 gold here, 30 gold there. It's gonna stack up to a lot of gold. Yeah, so he goes for the Bladed Rune King. So he can deal as much damage as possible very, very early on in the game. I like that choice a lot. I really love how these pro players constantly look around the map. Like, every time I was coaching players, you know, because I used to do coaching, none of these players looked at the map. And, like, here is the proof that literally the best players, they constantly look around them. So if you didn't believe me, here's more proof to it, right? Because I kept saying it, look around, look around, look around. And you know, it was just so hard for them to adapt to that. But now, guys, look at this. The pro players as well, they constantly look around, constantly. By the way, did you see what he did right there? He used his first ability before his Fury got to 50%. So he would have Empowered Fury for his next engage. There's no way, right? Now, there's no way. I was just gonna say. But when she steps out of turret range? Exactly. Exactly. It's so obvious. It's so painfully obvious. Because, to me, because this is the power of Renekton. This is why you run Brutal, Kraken Slayer, Bone Plating. This is exactly why, and I'm so happy to see it. Because you can see him play it absolutely perfectly. And this is how you play Renekton, guys. You go all out early game. All out, like all out. And you can do crazy plays like that. Like, no, there's not a lot of champions that could just one-shot an enemy champion like that this early on in the game. There's really not a lot. Like, really, really not a lot that can do something like that, like Renekton. I mean, Pantheon has something similar. But even Pantheon, like, Pantheon actually gets countered by Renekton if you didn't know already, by the way. Renekton demolishes Pantheon early on in the game. There's no way. Oh my god. I mean... yeah, demolish. Yeah. I just saw it wrong with the sweet tooth. Like, demolish makes way more sense. I even said it during the build part. Because, like, look, he already proc demolish twice. He got 3 turret plates already. This is the meaning of dominating your lane. I believe his team is not gonna be that good though. Because we'll see. We'll see what happens. The problem about these players is they're so good that every game they're just gonna dominate these noobs, right? But let's see what happens. I just wonder how he gets into the late game with Renekton. Because the one thing that's the problem with Renekton, obviously, is the late game. Oh my god. Oh wait, he didn't stun her. He did a perfect combo to get to the Ashe, to get his triple stun, but then he screwed up. That's kind of funny. You saw what happened right now. I'm actually going to go back into the video to show you guys exactly what happened. Right here, as you can see, he did a perfect... Look at his Fury. Look at his Fury. He was waiting to get his perfect Fury. Look. Boom. You see that he engaged with third ability through the minions. And then using his first ability, he now got his empowered second ability. But why? Oh! Empowered third ability he used, which is really not that useful on Ashe because she doesn't have a lot of armor anyways. And he decided that he was not going to be able to kill her under the turret. You know why? Probably because Ashe has ultimate. So he didn't decide to dive her under the turret because Ashe would have ulted him and killed him under the turret. It was a calculated play by him. Now I realized it. Because it may have seemed like a free kill, but if Ashe had her ultimate, she could have just ulted him under the turret and kill him very, very easily. And here he doesn't even give her a chance. The reason that it worked this time is because she was very low HP. So she didn't even have a chance to use ultimate. He's probably gonna prep his Fury. First ability? Oh, he does it like this. So he did it to increase his healing. And because of that, he was able to get the kill. Perfect usage of his abilities. I'm honestly impressed. Like, I'm honestly so impressed watching this. It takes a lot to get me impressed for Wild Rift. It really does. But like, I'm honestly impressed. Because yet again, this is perfect ability management right here. You guys can learn from... I mean, I am learning a lot from this as well. Because the way he's constantly jumping around and really managing his abilities properly, not just using his abilities like a brain dead person. He's that right there, you know, he used his first ability on all of the minions and the Graves to get a lot of healing, stunned the Graves, and then because he used all of that, he got all of that healing, he was able to take a turret shot and kill the Graves. It's phenomenal. This is phenomenal gameplay. Like, I am being entertained. Obviously, well, not obviously, but I'm watching these videos for the first time to make it entertaining for you guys as well, you know, so you can see my first time reaction. This is amazing. Like, this is the peak of the gameplay that you can get. Like, it doesn't get better than this. It really doesn't get better than this. This is basically the best way you can play Renekton. Let's see what he does here, however, because he has multiple choices. An Emerald player would continue pushing right here because he would want to do a selfish play. But Lonelykid is doing this. He's going to mid lane. Oh my god, the Morgana failed. The Morgana failed. If the Morgana had followed up properly with her first ability, they would have killed Thresh. Because he did stun Thresh. And Morgana somehow missed her first ability, the root, on a stunned enemy. Which is pretty funny to me. Is he really gonna gank bot lane here? What a madman. He could flash on the... Yeah, he doesn't even need to. Interesting. He used his first... If he stunned the Thresh, he would have killed the Thresh right there. It's fine though, but just saying, if he stunned the Thresh, he would have killed the Thresh early right there. Yeah, he gets punished. So, finally he made a misplay. Oh my god. Finally. Let me show you guys why it was a misplay. So let's go back into the video. Right here, he's chasing the Thresh. Really well done on the minion right here. As you can see, yet again, ability management. You see his Fury is running out, and he uses his third ability on the Scuttle Crab, and it's not an empowered third ability. He could have used an empowered stun on the Thresh, ignite first ability that would have guaranteed killed the Thresh. Instead, he uses an empowered first ability, and because of that, he's unable to reach the Thresh, unfortunately, so he's not able to get that kill on the Thresh. If he had killed that Thresh, he would have probably cleaned up this lane. Because the Thresh is the main reason he was not able to get those kills, as you can see. Because Thresh used his second ability on the Draven, which forced Lonelykid to flash to the Draven. And then after that, Thresh pulled him back as well. So that mistake, seemingly a small mistake, actually cost him a lot right there. It's very interesting to see, right? Like how a small mistake can cost you like a free quadra kill, right? And I'm sure he noticed that as well, right? Like after it happens, I'm sure he noticed it as well. And that's the difference between you know, these types of players and the normal player. These types of players notice these things. Obviously, he noticed it because you can clearly see throughout the whole game he's been using his abilities perfectly. He's been managing his fury really well. So he notices these types of things as well. You may have noticed that it was a mistake, or you may not have noticed his perfect management, but he notices, and that's why he's an incredible player, and that's why he's able to make plays like that. Now I get how every top laner was struggling against Lonelykid when European esports was going on. Because, you know, I've casted a lot of these tournaments, and it just felt like I don't know what it felt like, but Lonelykid was just always able to win his lanes. He was playing Rivens, Camille's, and champions like that. Very mechanical champions. But he was just able to win against such good players, and now I get why. Like, just look at how he's playing. Look at look at how smart he is. Look at his mechanics. That's why. That's exactly why. He has his game on Korean, I think. That's the Korean voice, isn't it? I prefer Japanese myself, but Korean sounds absolutely badass as well. I don't know. I don't know why English... Like, is it just me or... I mean, English... No. You know what? English sounds fun, but... Japanese just hits different. Literally, Japanese just hits different. And in my opinion, German is one of the ugliest languages, even though I actually speak German. I mean, I don't speak fully German. Just like half. But I really think it's a very ugly language. It sounds so dumb. Netherlands, Dutch. I think Dutch is also an incredibly ugly language. Even though it's literally my main language. Well, it's actually my second language. I think it's really ugly. But Arabic, for example, is amazing. Unfortunately, I don't speak Arabic. I only speak a little bit. Both my parents speak Arabic. And French. Oh, ooh la la. Merci beaucoup. Le croissant. Je t'aime. You know, that sounds so amazing, you see? Compared to, like, all the other stupid sounding languages. I don't mean to offend anyone. I've only been talking about languages that I actually speak myself. I've only been trashing on languages I speak myself, so then it's fine, you know? Yeah, then it's fine. Because you can make jokes about yourself, right? But if someone else does it, it's offensive. That's how nowadays world works, right? Let's see what he does here. Oh, the Thresh is so annoying. You can see, like, the Thresh is annoying him so much. But they were able to kill everyone. Now he's probably gonna check the red buff. If the red buff is up, he's gonna take the red buff and then he's gonna push the top lane turret. Let's see. Exactly. He's gonna check the red buff. Red buff is not up. Instead, he could even go for the mid lane turret. Because the top lane turret is on half-life already. He can just take the mid lane turret. Oh, that's a Herald even in top lane. Exactly. He's just gonna use Demolish and take the mid lane turret for free. It's even better. He can destroy Graves in a 1v1. Normally, Graves is pretty good into Renekton in 1v1s. But because he's so ahead... Yeah, and the Nautilus as well. Stun. Boom, boom, boom. And boom. Easy, easy. Kill. Let's see. He could try... you know what I thought he could have done there? I thought he could just... make sure he gets vision on all of the bushes in their red jungle. So he knows they don't have vision. And then cheese the enemies. So, like, wait in a bush and just get a kill for free. Yet again, right here, Thresh. Every single time he died has pretty much been because of Thresh. This Thresh has been playing really well. Just the barriers as well with Thresh's second ability have been really big too. Honestly, this enemy Thresh is just doing really well. Hey, he goes for a Serpent Fang fourth? Really? I mean, Thresh has a shield. Diana has a shield. Draven with Bloodthirster has a shield. What other shield do they have? Graves with a Bloodthirster has a shield? But is it really worth to go for that? I mean, it gives him lethality too. Oh my god. Cleanup time. Lethality. Maybe it's about... I don't know. I don't really get why he would go for a Serpent Fang. Maybe it's just a bait. That he's, you know, going for Serpent Fang. Look, this is why Graves counters Renekton, by the way. You see this? Graves can run away from Renekton, dash away constantly, and just destroy you. But as I said, because he's so ahead, he's still able to fight him. But normally, you have to be very careful with Graves when you play Renekton, because Graves will destroy you. He's actually going for a Serpent Fang. I mean, of course, the anti-barrier is good for the Thresh and stuff, but really? Is it better than going for like a Guardian Angel? I guess it's like a hyper-aggressive item because he's so ahead in the game. Because of the lethality and the anti-barrier as well. Doesn't really allow the Thresh counterplay as much because Thresh has been saving his teammates with the barriers so often. And now, because of the Serpent Fang, it's not going to be as easy for Thresh to save his teammates. Oh, he tried to catch the Ashe, but Ashe actually escaped. Really good flash by the Ashe. It's funny because it may seem like a troll pick, but this Ashe is actually playing pretty well. Not like this Ashe is playing badly. She's actually doing pretty well. Especially the Thresh. Enemy Thresh has been playing really, really well. The Ashe has been playing okay. But like the other player, I mean, even the other players are playing pretty well. It's not like they're playing badly. It's just Lonelykid is dominating this game because he's so good. It's because he's playing the game so well. Again, he could have stunned the Thresh there. Not sure why he didn't stun the Thresh. Look at that Thresh. The Thresh really got a kill because of Bramblefest there. That's disgusting. Okay, so he did go for the Serpent Fang. And I assume he's just gonna go for a Guardian Angel last item. So I wonder, is this Serpent Fang really gonna make the difference here? Is it really gonna increase his damage that much? I mean, he's gonna do a lot of damage to jungle camps for sure because he has the armor penetration. And it just gives a lot of base stats. It gives a lot of attack damage. Let's see. Yeah, he goes on. Oh my god. What? I guess that's why he went for the Serpent Fang. He just one-shot the Draven. Yeah, where do you go? Where do you go? You've already used your dash. He QSS's this Graves. Amazing. Ah, and the Caitlyn finishes him off. It's so funny to see like the enemies are pretty good players get destroyed. It's such a funny thing to see, right? Like, it makes you believe that the enemy is not playing well. But it's the fact that Lonelykid is playing so well that he's making these good players seem like they're not playing well. That I find that beautiful. It's the same as football, right? Like, you could have a really good defender, but then when they're up against Messi, you know, it's gonna feel like they're a trash defender anyways. It's a really interesting thing to me, right? Like where a really good player or a really good someone in a certain thing will look horrible because there's just someone that much better. It's just crazy to me, really. Also, like, you know, Einstein, like there were so many amazing scientists, but all these scientists were nothing compared to Einstein, even though these scientists were so good. No one remembers their name. People only talk about Einstein in his time, right? Like, it's so funny. It's so funny to me. Oh my god. He has a Guardian Angel, so he's gonna be fine. Yeah, and they win the game. Absolutely deserved win for him. Wow. Phenomenal performance. Let's take a look at how much damage he did and everything like that. Better than... What the hell? Better than 99.8% of Renektons? He did 33.8 thousand damage. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this content. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next Wild Rift video. Bye bye.